on. The door handles, nightmare.
No, we've had some issues getting up to YouTube and Facebook, and we just wanted to make sure it was perfect before we went live to you all. So most of this week's session has been recorded because we're busy kind of working on other events. So we're going to fire away with the live video, and I hope you all enjoy. And we'll see you in a bit for some kind of questions and answers.
Yeah, enjoy.
Hello and welcome to the second instalment of the Aztec Event Services AV Masterclass series.
These sessions are intended to help you as event organisers have a better understanding of AV equipment and what works best in different situations.
This week's session is titled Bigger is Not Always Better. The objective of this week is to help you as event organisers understand what to look for and what works best in what situation in regards to displaying content for your conference, feature area or exhibition stand.
Like our last session, we will be using Slido to communicate with you at home, watching us live, hopefully. So head over to slido.com and use the hashtag AztecMasterclass to ask any questions.
Let's get started. So, like last week with the microphones, we split our display options into multiple different sections. Standard screens, large format screens, projection, and LED.
So let's get started with the standard screens. Standard screens typically come within the 19-inch to 60-inch bracket.
The sort you might have in your home.
Unless you've got an extravagant home cinema, yeah.
I mean, each to their own.
Yeah.
What size you have is really only relative to the size of your space. There's no exact science to what we're saying here today, but we do have a couple of things that we kind of ask ourselves before we suggest what screen size is best.
If the content is heavy with text, less video, no flashy graphics, then you might be suitable to have a 49-inch or similar size screen.
How many people are in the audience? If you have less than 50 people, a standard screen normally works perfectly. And then if you have a wider space, if you add a couple of extra smaller screens, then everyone can see in the room.
Or you might have a long space, a long hall, where multiple screens down the side of one side might act as relay monitors and could be really helpful to assist the viewing of the audience.
If you have a small space, but your content is video or graphics heavy, you may not want to use a smaller screen. Use a larger screen and show off that content.
Bigger is always better if the biggest factor is your content.
However, if the presenter leads the way and the content is just an assist, smaller may be more appropriate.
So large format screens. We typically describe large format screens as between 70 inches and above.
At Aztec, we go up to a 98-inch screen, but I have seen 100 plus on site before.
Large format screens are perfect for rooms with audiences over 50, but typically lower than 150.
But remember, it's not an exact science, and we always say that even if you've got 50 people plus or 150 people plus, it might work in certain situations. You can also partner up multiple larger screens or multiple smaller screens to make something work within a budget or within a general design or look.
Got a theatre, mainly panel discussions? Go for a smaller screen. Focus your AV budget on lighting and audio instead.
Exactly. You don't really want to waste your money on a screen that's a 98 or an 86-inch screen. If
no one's looking at it.
If no one's looking at it, no one needs to look at it. If you've got the budget, fine. But if you're looking to spend in the most kind of fair and equal way and kind of show off your... Spend it on the set, spend it on the lighting, spend it on the audio instead of the screen. If you're really not using that screen for anything, don't waste your money thinking that you have to have a big screen. That bigger is not always better.
All our screens can be wall mounted, installed on floor stands, or anything up to 50 inches can be installed on desk stands also.
If you want to wall mount your screen, please check with your account manager before we do so. We need to make sure that that screen is suitable for the wall that your stand builder is building. Technicians will never put a screen on a wall if it's unsafe to do so. It is your responsibility as the organizer to ensure that wall is safe, or we won't hang it on there. If you want to go bigger, perhaps a large format screen is out of your budget, or you want to go larger than a 98-inch screen, projection could be your best bet.
Projectors come in all shapes and sizes. Typically, the bigger the projector, the brighter, and usually allows more throw capabilities.
Some of our smaller projectors are far cheaper than our bigger screen large format options. So you don't have to compromise on your screen size due to your budget. Right, now time to bore you with some science. Think of a projector like a triangle. Point A is the projector, point B and C is your screen. Typically, the further point A is from B and C, the bigger your throw is. We can put a shorter lens in some of our more expensive projectors, which allows us to have a wider throw over a shorter distance. But as a general rule, the longer the throw, the wider the screen.
Projectors can be positioned from the front, from the rear, and hung from above. You must always be careful with positioning from the front because you can come across shadows or the presenter can block the projection.
If you're doing rear projection, you can eliminate these shadows, but you need that space behind the screen in terms of throw distance. Now, a way of eliminating both of those things is to hang that projector from a truss. Now, this is perfect. It eliminates the shadows, it eliminates the space, but you have to consider the cost of rigging within your venue. You can also use projection for different shapes and curved walls and mapping. For example, if you have a hexagon as part of your branding, you can present someone's face on that hexagon as opposed to a rectangle or a square image.
We can also blend 2 or 3 projectors together to make a larger image. One thing to consider with projection is the light.
The light. So, for example, if you are working in venues like Olympia or the BDC, they've got glass roofs. Projectors become washed out when you can't control the light. So in big, bright environments, projectors don't work very well. If you're looking for the best results with a projector, try using a black box theatre like the one we're using today. Thank you to our friends at Thorns for providing this one for us. They're great and they're always good to kind of use if you're looking to kind of drape your theatre and kind of make sure that you can control the light in that space. That's how we get the best results for our projectors.
If you can't compromise on light, then maybe LED is an alternative big screen solution for you.
Now, LED can be great for that impactful looking feature area. It's really bright, there's no concerns of shadows, and there's no size restrictions.
However, LED is not meant for looking up close. If you're looking for a high resolution or close-up viewing distance, LED could do the trick, but this will come at an increased cost.
LED can be wall mounted in most cases. That's one of the things you need to check with your account manager because they're mounted in different kind of ways per different LED panels. It can also be floor mounted and truss mounted. If it's floor mounted, you should factor in a 1.5 meter rear depth. This is for the support structure to make sure that it's safe to kind of have an LED wall at a certain height. But this is still so much more flexible than a projection option.
Things to note. LED tends to be the most expensive option, not only because of the screen size and type, but due to the power requirements.
Pixel pitch. Now, Andy, should we talk about pixel pitch?
Yeah, so pixel pitch. This is basically the closeness of the pixels within a certain range. So a 3.8 would be ideal for a large display hanging from above, so some signage. But then you go for a 1.5 pixel pitch. This is really close pixels, and this was ideal for close-up viewing and really high-res images. It really gives a wow factor.
And I think we just need to say that if your account manager is saying you need like the most premium pixel pitch, you really don't. You need to think about the content that you're displaying. If your LED is being used for kind of a static image or a Twitter wall, you probably don't need a high pixel pitch. If, for example, it's the stream of your keynote theatre on your biggest show of the year, you probably want a high quality image and therefore a higher pixel pitch. So, to summarise, let's have a look back at everything that we've talked about today, and hopefully we can kind of bunch everything together and kind of tell you what our kind of top tips are for each section.
Small format screens. Great for small audiences under 50 people, when the PowerPoint is an assistive tool for the presenter, or as additional relays down the side of a room or out the front of a theatre.
Large format screens. For content-heavy presentations and videos, large spaces, 50 to 150 people as a guide, premium-looking, high-quality resolution.
Projectors, ability to get a much larger image, edge-blended screens, curved screens and mapping, bigger on a budget.
LED. Bigger and brighter screens can be hung from a truss, wall-mounted or floor-mounted. less space needed behind and in front, and it gives you that wow factor. And costume change.
As you can tell, and most of you know, in our industry, it takes all sorts of characters and individuals to make this stuff work. Just like your events, you'll need all sorts of different items of AV that we can provide you with. Each event should be treated bespoke, not a one-size-fits-all sort of approach.
Are you trying to suggest that I'm not a one-size-fits-all approach?
I'm not suggesting anything. I'm saying...
We rehearsed that multiple times today, where we both did a spin, we jumped up, and we did the costume change together. It was a beautiful thing of theatre, and you've really ruined it.
I'm sorry, mate. Sorry.
If you haven't already, go over to slido.com, hashtag masterclass, Aztec Masterclass, and then we're going to do our Q&A part of the thing, and we're going to kind of test you guys on some scenarios. So just to kind of get an idea to see if anyone was listening. Fingers crossed someone was listening. So if you head over to Aztec Masterclass, we're going to go to our first scenario of the day. So what we're going to do is on the screen, you're going to see a scenario, and then you've just got to go with what display option you think works best. That sounds easy enough, doesn't it, Andy?
I'd like to think so. If we don't know.
So, you are running a small employment fair for young people to speak to prospective employers, just about their options, what jobs they want to do when they're older, whether or not they need to go to college or university. You've got a smaller theatre, about 35 people, and the content is mainly video. So people are arriving, they're just watching the video, just getting an idea of what's to offer. There's not really any presenters. There's the odd person that comes on and goes, this video is about this, not about this. And it's just kind of that kind of quick, kind of fast-paced, video-heavy content. Now, hopefully that kind of gives people a clue if I keep saying video-heavy content. Now, lots of people are voting in. We've got 3 people so far. Get your votes in. I'm going to give it a minute. Just to see who knows what they're talking about, who was listening. Whoever did LED wall, you're being silly, aren't you?
Unless they got a super budget.
Yeah, no, someone's gone, you know what, 35 people deserve an LED wall. That might be a clue as to what answer isn't the correct answer on that one. So 4 people have voted. I think we can get to like 5 or 6. Come on.
So let's think about this question. So it's a small event, young people, so 35 people, not a massive audience. The content is a key feature in this, so it's all going to be running big videos. The presenter isn't necessarily going to be leading the way. So what do you think?
Right, we've had 6 people vote already, so let's go with the correct answer. Now, this isn't an exact science, so I'm not saying that you should definitely go with this, but the clue in the question is mainly for videos. So if you want to make those videos look as higher quality as possible, you probably want to go for a large screen. If the presenter is not on stage really at all, kind of working their magic, you don't need to use a small screen as just an assistive tool, but you need to use a bigger screen to really like show off those graphics, those videos. So a large format screen in this particular situation is probably the go-to. Who said LED wall? I want to see who it is. I've got some ideas, but
in all honesty, we're not going to bully you. Ignore him.
I mean, I'm definitely not going to bully anyone, am I? Let's be serious. I was the guy who span around.
Let's move on.
Yeah.
Scenario number 2. So, you are putting on a conference at a large hotel in London or anywhere. We're going to say London for this scenario.
London.
Your designer has come up with a concept to have a curved screen to go with your branding. What display option would be best to deliver this?
Yeah, so I'm kind of envisioning this kind of nice curvy designed kind of event.
Yeah.
Lots of curves.
Lots of curves.
Lots of curves.
You know.
But I guess what can we make curves with?
Well, there we go. We could try with a screen, but I'm not sure it would actually work by the end of it.
Well, yeah, I mean, potentially we would find some issues with curving rectangle square screens.
Yeah,
but,
rectangle squares. Great.
Rectangle squares, all of the geometry. So Lots more people voting this time. There we go with someone with the large format screen.
We're being trolled. Who would have thought? It's probably Josh.
So let's maybe 2 more. Can we get 2 more? Can we get 2 more?
No.
No. So rightly, mostly people have correctly
75%
guessed with projection.
Yeah.
So those of you who said LED, yes, you could potentially use an LED wall. There's curved pieces that you can get with LED walls.
These are really at the top end, so they are real cost heavy, but it is achievable. 100%.
The main clue with this is it's a hotel, so you can kind of control the light within the hotel. They normally have window blinds or they don't have any windows at all. So you don't need to spend the money on an LED wall that's really, really bright. You can use projection, and normally in the right circumstances, projection can go just as bright as LED. It can be as impactful, and you can easily get that curve. Where
you have more creative options when using projection, I think.
For sure. Right, let's go to the final question of today. So, you're putting on an award show at a large hotel in Birmingham. Let's do the whole, it's the crisps one that we did last time.
Oh,
Gary Lineker's the presenter. Yeah. And you want to put your show winners in like kind of multiple locations around this very long room. You may have a big projection wall at the front. That's just kind of your main key focus. But it's very long. So how do we show off...
how do we keep the rest of the audience being able to view what's happening on stage? So we're not interested in the main focus. We're interested in how the rest of the audience are viewing.
I just want to say very long one more time to make everyone
really
laugh.
long.
Very long. You all came watching for the innuendos today. That's you're a liar if you didn't see bigger is not always better and think Cam's going to make a tit of himself.
I probably wouldn't say that. But, okay, cool. So, any more?
Any more for any more?
Oh, we're definitely getting trolled here. So, okay, we're going to give you the answer. So the answer to this one would be small format screens. The reason behind it, you could use large format screens.
Yeah, you definitely could, and we definitely have.
Problem is, a lot of the time, so as a relay monitor, you don't want to block the view of the end goal, as it were.
Yeah,
so you don't want to block the view of the stage, but you want the close-up view where the camera is focused onto the presenter, for example.
Yeah, and if the main focus isn't what's going on those screens, but you do just still want to kind of add an extra kind of written element. I always think of the way that we communicate kind of content and display content is the way that different people learn. So you tend to have a visual learner, I've forgotten all of the different learners there. Your verbal learners, you've got different types. Yeah, and then the doers. But in terms of communicating your message, the presenter is on stage communicating the main message, but if you want to kind of relay that, give an extra kind of addition to that, names on screens, kind of text on screens, smaller screens mainly would work better than a larger screen. You don't want to waste your money on lots of large screens down a hall just to communicate someone's name. But thank you, Gary, for presenting that award show. Gary will be back in a couple of weeks' time for another instalment of questions.
Oh.
I'm just going to use the award show.
Yeah, okay. Gary's our resident awards giver.
Awards host.
Yeah.
So thank you all for getting involved in the scenarios. As always, we kind of want to make sure that you've got like an element of learning in what we're doing and to kind of test your knowledge, I guess. There's some of you who know it all, and there's some of you who have kind of just joined the industry or have been in the industry a little while who are going to benefit from stuff like that. So thank you for getting involved where you did. Now is for the scary part of any presenter's kind of session is the Q&A part. So send in your questions. If you've got anything, we'll try and answer as best as we can, I guess.
Indeed.
Any questions? Nothing? Anything on Facebook? Anything on Slido? Any comments here, there and everywhere?
Well, if we answered everything, that's perfect.
Oh, you might be able to sing again.
No.
So I did
sort
that
of-
spinning round thing, and you did the.
I just turned up, mate.
You just end up.
Yeah.
We flannel matched.
Yeah, yeah.
It's Flannel Thursday, everyone. All right, we'll give you 1 more minute for questions. If you don't want to ask any questions, here we go. What is the biggest projection screen I could have? This is a good question. So, in terms of screen size, it is quite open. So, as Andy said earlier, it's
Depends on
infinite
your space.
in the sense. Yes,
Yeah,
it depends on your space.
It depends. So the different factors that you have to consider is how much light pollution there is. Is there enough power? All stuff like that. It depends on the space. We can go infinitely, as Cam said, really, and it depends on the processing power as well. So we need to process and have the content to fill such a space.
For sure, yeah. I mean, we can edge blend, put multiple projectors together to make a really wide thing, or we can stack them to make a really tall thing. As we say, it's almost infinite in the sense that it's only as infinite as your space can give you possibilities.
And light providing.
And if you want to go for a really big screen, that's going to be a conversation you want to have with your account manager. And the moment that you say, "I want a really big screen," in that voice exactly, you might have that conversation with your account manager and get the kind of best answers you want. Andy, how big can an LED wall be?
So you're restricted dependent on your batch. So most LEDs are going to be manufactured at one time, and a lot of the time we have access to a stock. If you keep expanding on that, you might be able to buy the same model, but if you just keep using that from other firms, if we hire it in, we will be restricted to only ones that can be in that batch. So there isn't an exact answer to that.
What is your favourite screen, Andy?
Wow.
We know that this is one of our dear friends probably being a little naughty, but he's asked what your favourite screen is, Andy. His favourite screen is a Samsung 32 No VGA.
Oh, wow. Sounds like one of our warehouse guys has got into the stream. It's one of my favourites as well. Old school.
Yeah. I like the LG 49.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Good.
It's a new winner for me. How far away can I place my projector? This is a good question. So it varies from projector to projector. It's kind of based on brightness, based on power and lens. The further away you go with some projectors, the less clear and focused that projector will come. And it's really down to the projector that you have available.
Again,
to you.
it's all circumstantial to what you need to achieve. So we can get more projectors, stack projectors, use the appropriate lens to get that throw distance and get the focus on it. So again, I don't have an exact answer for you, but I know that if you tell us what you want to achieve, we can try and make that happen.
Our LED walls are able to be used outside.
Our
Yes.
LED, well,
Not our LED specifically,
our LEDs,
but yes.
not,
So there's obviously different manufacturers of LED. Lots from China, lots from Germany, all over the place. But what you're looking for with an outdoor LED wall is something called an IP60.
It's an IP rating, so
Yes.
it's.
I think it's 5 or 65 or
56.
67 or something.
Okay, don't take his fact. No, it's an IP rating, which means it is waterproof and can be used in all weather conditions. But we don't stock them, but we can get hold of them if you so wish.
Lovely. How do you hang a large format screen on a wall? 2 people on the sides, 1 person in the middle.
Yeah, pretty much.
So in essence, we need to make sure that wall's reinforced. Normally some wooden battening behind the wall, just to make sure, well, almost always wooden battening behind the wall. 2 guys will take it out of the thing. I'm just doing a full, should we?
Yeah, sure. I can't believe
And
we're doing this. Okay, we're definitely being trolled. So, right.
What should we go for next? Thank you for all the questions. These are great. why do some of the pixels periodically drop out of the LED screens sometimes, and how easy is it to fix on site during a session? During a session, very difficult.
Impossible.
Normally we have an issue when you will find that some LEDs will kind of burn out or die, and you'll lose kind of power to them. Technology sometimes goes wrong. It's not always the
you
the
usually
exact
find
answer.
the odd pixel here and there that might drop out.
And if that happens mid-session, unfortunately mid-session there's not a lot you want to do. I wouldn't ask any technician to jump up on a ladder or kind of get.
You have to usually take out the quadrant, and then we'll send that quadrant out back to the manufacturer to get repaired.
Yes, for sure. So thank you for that question. That was a good question.
Not during the session.
I think
that's about it.
I think that's about it. I'm happy with that. I don't want to waste everyone's time. I know we were a little bit late starting today.
And some of these questions are pretty fruity. So I'm not going to be answering.
I'm going to find that person who wrote that one who tried to make me giggle mid-session. How do seamless screens work? They don't. They work in the bin. No, I joke. I jest. So seamless walls are very much an invention made for installation projects. So it's multiple TV screens like the ones behind us, but slightly smaller, that you would put in an array that makes a video wall. Now, we find in exhibition spaces, they're very difficult to get right within a 12-hour build.
Especially so you want to get the best out of seamless screen, you're probably going to be installing it within an aperture, which is going to be super tight, and there's lots of room for error when installing them. So
for sure,
they have their place, and they do look really top.
When they're done right,
really
they do look really nice. We've actually made the decision to no longer stock seamless walls, just simply because they are such a difficult thing to install and get right regularly. In an exhibition environment, and that's our main game. We've kind of worked on exhibitions for many years, and the kit that we stock is kind of the best stuff for exhibitions, and seamless walls just seem to not do the job for us.
Yeah, we've just found much better solutions.
Yeah, we've got the DigiThin that we didn't really talk about today, but it's a very thin LED panel that can be wall mounted, and it's really super thin.
A framework that we can build
and it does the same job as a seamless wall in regards to the size, and we found that's a better option than our seamless options.
Yeah.
I think that's all for the questions. Thank you very much for getting involved. As always, we'd appreciate any kind of comments on Facebook or Slido or any of our other social media. Ping us a message if you've got anything that you want to you were too embarrassed to ask on the Slido stream.
So, hello@aztechuk.com. That's a good email address if you want to get in touch.
We're back in 2 weeks' time, so we've got a couple of events next week and the week after that you might want to see. We're doing the ESSA AGM. We've got another Ops in Lockdown that we're working on, and we've got the MASH Media pub quiz next Wednesday, which is raising money for the Lord Taverners.
Yeah, it's great charity, and we're actually utilising both Studio A, our green screen area, and Studio B. Here.
Yes,
so,
it looks really exciting what the team at MASH want to do.
Pretty interesting what's going on. So
yeah,
hopefully you can tune in and have a laugh, because that's the point of that.
And this is your last stream with us for a little while. You might come back if we do any more, but
for my sins,
we're welcoming back. We're welcoming our dear friend Scott to the team for the next stream.
So if you think I'm bad, you got.
So we look forward to seeing you next time in 2 weeks' time, and sayonara.
Bye.